What's up, team? Welcome back. We have been inundated with questions on how to build muscle for skinny guys, skinny girls, and general viewers who want to build some muscle this year.
First things first, we're going to break down the simple science behind building muscle, and then we're going to give you the only 3 things you need to make 2018 your muscliest yet.
There's 3 main things we need to do to build muscle. One of them is create a stimulus. This is basically where your training is going to come in. You have to push your body further than it's been before for it to evolve and change, adapt and grow. We then need to think about how we're fueling our sessions and also how we recover. So that's going to be our nutrition, and ultimately we are looking at our recovery, what we do when we're out of the gym, how our food incorporates with that, because that is actually when you build muscle. You create damage in the gym, you feed yourself up, you sleep, you recover, you get jacked. Let's do it.
Let's start straight with your training, or as John so smoothly put it, smooth little devil, your stimulus, the reason your body has to adapt, change and come back stronger. There is one thing that not enough people are doing regimentally, whether you're new, whether you've been in the gym for years. There is one thing that everybody's doing in this category.
Bench press.
Bench press International Chest Day. What is a bench press? It's a compound lift. We want to see every single person out there watching this video who wants to build muscle or generally wants to be fit and healthy and strong doing your compound lifts. I mean deadlifts, I mean squats, I mean overhead presses. They are beautiful movements, they're multi-joint actions, and your body is going to get so much stronger and so many adaptations from doing them.
Absolutely. There's something you want to put at the start of your session.
For sure.
They do tax your central nervous system because so much is going on. You're having to think about it. You've got so many muscles working at once, so you get a lot of bang for your buck. They are also what I call primal. Like you are squatting, you're bench pressing, you're overhead pressing, even if you're deadlifting. It's do or die. When you get to a heavy weight, if you don't push that back up again, so it really creates that response in you where you're out of your comfort zone and you have to really go. And I personally think that's great for boosting testosterone and just getting yourself just jacked. Like you must do your compound lifts and you must track them. First thing in your session, if it's a leg day, it's squats, or it might be deadlifts. If it's bench press, it's a variation of these compound moves, and we want to track them with progressive overload. So each time we go in the gym, okay, I did 5x5 deadlift and I managed 100 kilos. Next week, I'm going to try and see if I can get 102.5. That's progressive overload. Each time we go in, we try and do an extra rep. We might change the tempo. We try and push the weight up, and what we're doing, we're creating a new, bigger stimulus for our body to change to.
There it is.
There's that word.
Stimulus. Nutrition is as important, if not more so, than your training.
Agreed.
This next point will dictate whether you ever build any more muscle or not in the gym, regardless of what you're doing. A surplus. We need to essentially be eating more calories or taking in more energy than we expend in the day. If you don't know how to set up your calories or your macros, watch the last vlog that we put up. I literally put the camera in front of the computer screen and walked it through step by step. I'll then come back and you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
So what we'll do, if you're not sure where to find that video, it will be in the description box and it will be the end card at the end of this video. Just click it, it will take you straight there, and Leon will teach you exactly, very comprehensively actually, how to work out your calories and get it set up for you. A point that I want to bring up, which is quite close to my heart, and I know there's a lot of people out there, typically us hard gainers, those of us that tend to be quite slight, tall, slender, long limbs, we have metabolisms and kind of food cravings which are ridiculous. The amount of calories that I have to eat a day just to maintain my weight is to the point where I feel uncomfortable with the amount of food I eat. Yes, I work out a lot because that is my job as well, more than most, but it's a lot of food and people don't appreciate it. They say, I wish I could eat as much food as you.
I always used to say that.
You don't. It makes you feel crap. Like if you go on a cycle where you really want to start building muscle and you want to start eating a lot more calories, it can make you very miserable. So bear in mind, you might get to the point to hit enough calories where you are literally cramming down food. And if you're not gaining weight, like on the scale at all, whether it's fat or muscle, you're simply not eating enough. That's the cold hard truth of it, and it sucks.
Some of your shakes.
I eat 1,000 calorie protein shake. Peanut butter, full fat milk, banana, creatine, protein, oats, bosh, 1,000 calories. It's like, otherwise, life's just too hard to eat that much food and it gets really expensive.
We totally understand that a lot of you might have to go away and find out exactly how many calories you need, but we know exactly what the next question is going to be. So we're going to kind of just walk through that door now and just get it answered straight away. Macro splits, right? First of all, we need to know our 3 primary macros we're going to be keeping an eye on. Protein, fat, and carbohydrates, all super important when it comes to building muscle in different ways.
Absolutely. So we look at protein quite simply. Protein is very important with recovery, creating new tissues of the body like new muscles. Carbohydrates typically is going to be our most readily available fuel source. Carbohydrates turn to glucose, which is going to be our fastest, most ready to use fuel source of the body, particularly for the brain. We then got fat. Fat is crucial for so many things, but especially for synthesizing primary sex hormones, things like testosterone, which we know is very, very important for building muscle.
Right, let's give you some ballpark baseline figures for your macros. Yes, it will change from person to person, likes and dislikes, total calories, etc. But this will get you going. If you're in America or you work in pounds, roughly 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight is a nice place to start. If you work in kilos, it's around 2 grams per kilo of body weight. That conversion will come a little bit lower if you're using kilos, but trust me, you will start to adapt it and change it over time anyway.
Government guidelines are set at 0.8 grams per kilo, and that's probably a bit low for people that are working out. It might be fine for sedentary general population, but for us, those that's working out, we want to make sure we're taking enough protein. We don't have to go in astronomical crazy numbers and all this stuff like many people would do, but do understand, if you're like me and you have to eat a lot of calories, for example, I might be on 500 grams of carbs a day, 120 grams of fat, my protein has to go up because I can't physically stomach any more fat or any more carbs. So understand that you're going to balance this for yourself. So once you have your protein set, a good place to start is roughly 1 gram per kilo for fat. So I weigh just over 80 kilos, so I'd probably start about 80 grams of fat. Again, my calories go up very high, so my fat pushes that way again. And then carbohydrates, it's really just about how you feel. We need to have enough to kind of fuel our workouts, make sure we're satiated. It can do lots of things that help. Carbs before bed helps me sleep really well. So just play with things and see what works for you. But we know the most important thing is we eat enough calories. If you're not eating enough, you're just not going to build muscle. You're not going to get any bigger. Your body needs that energy. One thing to consider is going to be spacing your meals out through the day. You haven't got to have 10 meals a day. Sure, if you've got a crazy amount of food to eat, that might be the way you choose to do it. But try and roughly keep your meals to every kind of 4 hours. So the reason I say this is because we want to regularly stimulate protein synthesis. And basically that's our body where it goes and switches over to start to repair, rebuild and recover. So if we, every 3 to 4 hours, we get a good hit of protein with the meals and good carbohydrates and fat, we can start to flip that switch over to protein synthesis all the time. If you really want to know, the main kind of amino acid that's really important for that is leucine. So when you look at things like BCAAs aren't that great, to be honest. The saving grace in them is leucine. So leucine is the thing that we're looking for, and certain meats have more than that than others.
So let's give you a few examples. With your protein, you've got red meats, you've got poultry, you've got dairy, you've got beans, you've got legumes, you've got eggs, you've got so many different options there.
Yeah, it really just depends on your ethics and the diet that you want to take. Don't worry if you're vegan or vegetarian, you can 100% still get enough protein in your diet. When we're looking at fat, there's lots of different sources of fat. The majority of our fat we want to come from monounsaturated fat. We also have polyunsaturated, and we want some saturated fat in there as well, believe it or not. It is good for you, just in moderation. The one we want to avoid is trans fats. This is fat that's been chemically changed under high temperatures with hydrogen to basically change the chemical formula of this fat, and as such, our body doesn't recognize it anymore, and it's no good for you. It's in certain oils and things like margarine. So where do we want to get our fats from? Avocados, nuts, olive oils, meats. These are all good places to be getting your fats from.
And then finally, the most recognized and feared macro in the world, carbohydrate sources. We've got bread, we've got potatoes, we've got rice, we've got oats. There's so many carbohydrate sources out there nowadays. Do not fear them. Also, yes, we're going to be talking about fruit and vegetables and those kind of things. And finally, the most important part of my diet is the junk food. The sanity, I call it.
There will be a small part of that in there because you're only human at the end of the day, but ultimately, we're not as rigid as we are if we're dieting, where we really have to limit the amount of junk food that we have in there, just kind of put it in for our kind of mental sanity. Up here, you can get away with it a little bit more, but obviously it's not ideal for health and it's not the way you want to do stuff. But if you want to put some of it in here and there, then fine. To be honest.
It's not going to kill you.
No. One thing to consider between your training and your nutrition. We know they work together. There's a bit of harmony going on there. But if you've got to eat a huge amount of calories and you're finding it hard, and you're spending crazy amounts of time in the gym, much longer than you need to. Let's say you're spending 2 hours in the gym. You're there for an hour longer than you need to, at least. So you're burning an extra maybe 300-400 calories, whatever you may be burning, that you've only got to eat again. In the gym, 40 minutes to an hour is more than enough. Get in there, create that stimulus that you need, be regimented with your training, get out and start recovering. Because we know in the gym is where we make damage to our muscles. We cause micro tears in the fascia in the muscle. Nutrition aids our fuel and our recovery. And ultimately our recovery...
He's getting there.
This is where we need to be. Ultimately, our recovery is where we actually build the muscle. So if you don't recover and take care of your body in that sense, it's not going to build muscle as effectively as you want it to, and you're going to have to spend time out of the gym because you're too sore or you're injured. So really, you're going to be looking at between 3 to 5 sessions a week in the gym. You can do more than that if your recovery is there. Younger people below 30 are going to probably be better for that. As you start hitting 30, like me and Leon, recovery, I know we're still young, but recovery does get a little bit harder. It's just one of those things. So we have to really make sure that we're bob on with stuff. When it comes to sleep, we are looking for 8 hours unbroken. I'm going to hold my hand up here and say I very rarely get unbroken sleep, and I should spend more time fixing that, and that's something that I need to do. Sleep has so many different stages into it. It has stages where we have cognitive repair and where we basically consolidate new things we've learned and memories, motor patterns. We have times where our growth hormone goes up to help repair our muscles. We have time when we're just recovering, and we have deep sleep. So sleep has very, very many important stages, and it actually runs, I think, in 90 or 60 minute cycles, and you need to complete them. So if you're waking up all the time, you're not getting as good a recovery as you need.
So here's a few things you could do if you're really struggling with your sleep. Number 1, go to bloody bed earlier.
Yeah,
the amount of people who turn around and go, I'm not sleeping very well.
Love Island's on.
I'm going to bed at 3 in the morning every day because I'm playing PUBG, Battleground Unknown, and I keep getting killed in the top 10. And I'll get up at 7. You know, we all love a bit of PUBG. Hit the like button below if you love a bit of PUBG. Yeah. Also, turn your electrical devices off an hour before you go to bed. So many people have said this over and over again. It's too much stimulation. It's going to keep your brain active and awake. Turn them off, meditate, read a book, do something. Stretch, do
have
something.
Have a little bit of the old...
Whoo! Knock on wood, son. Do something that is going to be low stress. Dim the lights. Make a few little love music and put the candle
So the reason we say turn off electrical devices is basically the light, that when it hits your eyes, stimulates cortisol. One of the reasons you wake up in the morning the way you do is the light from the glorious sun comes through your eyelids and pushes cortisol up, which is your stress hormone, which ultimately wakes you up in the morning. So we don't really want to be stressing ourselves out and getting a response from that kind of light before we go to bed. We want to start shutting down, relaxing, and a good, or even a hot bath, a good kind of sleep preparation routine will work wonders. These are the things that athletes do. They leave no stone unturned, no stone unturned. Their sleep is on point, their training is on point, and their recovery is going to be one of the biggest things they do, because the better they recover, the more they can train, which means the more time they have to get better, bigger, stronger.
Amazing.
Like it. Like a
nailed it, sister.
So on that note, we're going to leave you alone. If you enjoyed this video and it helped you out, we would really appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up, because that helps us out greatly. Subscribe if you haven't. Share this video with your friends. Don't forget, the end card that's going to come up is probably going to be over my face, because it always ends up being over my face. There's going to be a link to Leon's video where he shows you how to work out your calories and all that good stuff. So all that is left to say, I'm going to let you say it.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.